everyone and welcome to What Culture Gaming. I'm Ben from What Culture Gaming.
I'm Scott from What Culture Gaming.
Now Scott, you've been playing a lot of Mass Effect Andromeda, which has been
ripped to shreds.
Yeah, kind of, I don't want to say raising controversy, but there have been a lot of negative press, particularly around the animations and such, but obviously no one that has really been tearing into it has had a chance to experience the full game and see what it's all about. You have. I love Mass Effect.
Yeah, same.
You love Mass Effect. Please tell me what this game is about.
Okay, so it's, first of all, to allay all fears, it's nowhere near as bad as everyone would like you to believe. That obviously, yeah, some of the facial animations are hilariously bad.
Right.
But in terms of what it's about, like, in between Mass Effect 2 and 3, the Andromeda Initiative is formed, which is sort of this, like, exploration-heavy, billionaire-funded, it's a glorified Kickstarter
So it's between
project.
Mass Effect 2 and 3?
It's, the setup is that between Mass Effect 2 and 3, this, like, an Andromeda Initiative was set up, and they jetted off to just explore the Andromeda galaxy.
So Commander Shepard is still out there somewhere.
He's doing his thing. Yeah, but the way that they've sort of pivoted is that they don't even need to worry about all the Reaper stuff. They don't need to worry about the Star Child or any of that kind of crap, because they can just be like, oh, well, we're over here doing this thing. And the thing is, though, like, one of the biggest fan theories, which I was so on board with, was that this still took place between Mass Effect 2 and 3, but the reason the Andromeda Initiative existed in the fan theory was because someone believed Shepard when he talked about the Reapers and said, oh, well, maybe we should make preparations, and then they went off to explore a new galaxy. In this one, they don't even mention, they do mention Shepard, but they don't even, like, they just pivot and go, oh no, we just happen to want to explore somewhere. We just happen to do this right before all this other stuff kicked off.
You haven't finished it yet, so there may be nefarious reasons potentially.
Yes, possibly.
They usually are nefarious reasons. But talk to me about it then.
So yeah, so I'm like, I don't know, I'm about 30 to 40-ish hours in. I've just been kind of living on it, and it's the weirdest thing because I'm so torn on, like, just the various different directions that it goes in, because obviously they've got this extremely rich mythology and lore to pick from. You've still got all the same races, like the Asari, the Krogan, the Turians. They're all in there because they all arrived on different ships. So the basic premise is all of you guys arrive in Andromeda, but due to just the way that space travel works, it's like 634 years in the future, 2.5 million light years away.
Right.
Everyone arrives at different points, which means that the main hub, the Ark or whatever it's called, the Nexus it's called, arrived a year and a half before you, and so when you got there, you all come out of cryo and everything's kind of gone to shit. And it's just like, okay, now you inherit the title of the Pathfinder, which is the title given to someone who designates what worlds are going to be lived on.
Okay.
But all the worlds that were previously, they used interstellar telescopes to pre-mark out a bunch of planets that they want to live on.
Right.
But when they get there, I guess they didn't realize that time was going to pass, because then a whole bunch of those worlds have gone to hell. Right. So, but yeah, so there's about a year and a half out of cryo. The Nexus ship is, like, you know, derelict because, like, no one's been on it for about a year and a half. There's been rebellions, there's been uprisings. All the races are scattered again, and well, they're not necessarily scattered, but some of the Krogans have branched off.
That sounds interesting,
right? And like, yeah, and so that's really cool, and that makes you go like, oh, well, I'm the Pathfinder. You're pretty much the Spectre of this, because you were a Spectre in Mass Effect 1, which gave you, like, diplomatic, you know, judicial stuff. Sure. And in this one, yeah, it's very interesting, and it's like, oh, well, there's this whole new galaxy to just explore. Go make race relations, go do all your interspecies, you know, intergalactic politics stuff, do a Mass Effect. Yeah. That stuff is awesome, but then it just drops the ball because the animations are bad. For the vast majority, a lot of the facial animations are pretty bad, especially for the humans, which means that a lot of the Mass Effect tropes, the conversation stuff, the dialogue wheel, those kind of things, they just fall apart because they have nothing to hang them on. There's no real, like, sense of immersion because you're always being taken out of it because of, like, a bug, a glitch, a dialogue thing.
Crazy eyes,
crazy mouths, just like puppet faces. Like, there's a character called Addison that has a real problem with you, like on the ship. You're Ryder, and you're like trying to live up to your father's legacy and all that kind of thing, and she has this problem with you, and all the scenes with her are horrendous, and she's like one of the main characters at the beginning anyway.
Okay, and I think I've seen her.
Yeah, she's always very annoyed, and she's kind of English, and just blah blah, and but her face is just like that the whole time. That's kind of indicative of a lot of the interactions.
Display anger.
So my initial thought was, okay, I love this because it did tap back into that Mass Effect 1 thing of, like, I'm a human, I'm with all these interspecies, I'm with all these different races, and I'm in this new galaxy, and that stuff was really cool. But then a lot of the plot stuff is just all over the place. There's like, it's got this really weird, like, kind of new age Star Trek kind of tone. Like, there's a villain who's just evil for evil's sake. He does have a motive, but he's evil because he's evil. It's not Saren, it's not the elusive man, whatever. And so you're kind of a human in the middle of all this stuff, trying to figure all this stuff out. There's an inherent charm to that because it taps back into just being a human, proving yourself in the first Mass Effect. But a lot of the emotional resonance that we associate with Mass Effect, moral quandaries and that kind of stuff, it just can't pull it off.
Really?
Not consistently anyway. So it's been a little bit strange. And then there are like other things that are just baffling. Like they've changed the Omni tool to be this like weird, like bolted on giant orange square on your arm. It doesn't even look like a console.
Like a Pip-Boy.
And if you took a Pip-Boy and made it like bright orange and got rid of all the details so it was just like a block, it's that.
Nice.
And it's just
great.
It's just the weirdest thing.
Talk to me about the squad, because that was obviously a huge, that's good, a huge aspect of previous Mass Effect games.
Yeah.
You're meant to care about them.
Yes. You're definitely meant to.
Do you care about this squad?
Not the squad. It's the thing they've done with the so you start out and like opposite you when you wake up on the Nexus is this dude called Liam, and he's kind of meant to be your best friend, like default. Here's this dude, he's your new friend, he's now your best friend. Like just go, he's your best friend.
You are best friend.
Because they talk about him in the press materials as being your friend or whatever.
Yeah.
It's weird, man, because you in the original one when you would sort of struggle to be like, who am I going to take with me? I'm going to take Garrus, I'm going to take Rex, I'm going to take like Liara. And in this one, I've just been sticking to Jal, who's one of the new races. He's one of the Angarans. He's that weird, like, cat-looking dude.
Cat squid.
Cat squid man.
Yeah.
I like him. And then you've got the other ones are just like the same. You've got a female Turian. You've got Drac, he's the new Angry Krogan. He's the new Rex stand-in.
Yeah.
And so I tend to gravitate towards them because I want to go on this like this interracial, interspecies quest. Mm-hmm. So I kind of gravitate towards them because they are aliens, not because of their particular characters. Okay. Because like Liam's not great. Cora has way more to her than they've let on. Cora's actually really cool. Like the female that they've shown with the weird walking animation.
Yeah.
She's actually really cool. But you don't get more about her unless you actually pursue her dialogue stuff.
Okay.
A lot of the squad-based stuff isn't in the main story. You've really got to branch out and do it.
Right.
Which taps into another thing. There's like 1 billion side quests and ways to go. Like, you wouldn't believe the amount of stuff that's on the menus.
Okay, is it like Dragon Age Inquisition in that sense?
Yeah, kind of.
Right.
It's kind of, you know how all the biggest fears was, is it going to be Dragon Age Inquisition in space?
Yeah.
In the first few hours especially, yeah, it is entirely that.
It's such a shame, because they did such a phenomenal job of keeping those franchises so different and so far apart.
Mm-hmm. It's not, I mean, the thing is, it doesn't rub me the wrong way, the way that Dragon Age kind of did, because obviously the Dragon Age had the whole Hinterlands thing, and people didn't know where to leave that first area.
Yeah,
it doesn't
Hinterlands was a...
Yeah, and that was a whole... People just got lost in there, and obviously staying there made you over-leveled, and it ruined the whole progression. Mm-hmm. There's nothing as bad as that, but in terms of the design ethos coming across, like BioWare's new approach to an open world is, here's a space, here are 50 markers to go find, go do stuff. There's no real drive in there other than just exploration, which... Again, is one of the things that made me go, well, I kind of like that because I like Mass Effect, I like the mythology, I like exploration. It's just like, it's going to be one of those big fan versus critic things. I think a lot of fans are just going to get lost in that stuff, and it is fun. Just like doing dialogue, exploring, shooting some dudes in the face with a bunch of powers.
Yeah.
But then you look at like the actual overall level of polish that's applied to those things, and it kind of objectively kind of falls down a little bit.
Right.
So
how is the
weird.
shooting?
Shooting's cool. They've
the new jetpack and stuff.
Jetpack's awesome.
Make a difference.
And I love it's for like fans or whatever. If you change your profile, your class to an adept, like a biotic adept, you don't use the jetpack when you jump. It changes it to like a biotic uplift, and then you're like a biotic. It's like Infamous. It's like blasting with your hand powers.
That's cool.
I like that stuff. The combat, they've just opened it all up. Like you don't have to worry about playing your class anymore. You can just hit pause and completely switch your class. Oh. They make it so that you've got an implant called Sam. I forgot what Sam stands for, other than an awesome video editor. And you've got like Sam in your head, and every time you pause, you can just switch. You can go from soldier to infiltrator to adept to vanguard, and that changes all that really does is change like one specific thing, like a specific dash type, or more defense, or like that kind of thing. Okay. It's not much in terms of the powers. The sort of stuff that you had to unlock in the other games, you just have in a huge list. It's like biotics, tech, and something else like assault or combat.
Is that overwhelming at all?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
It's going to be ridiculous for new players because it's just like, here are 30 powers just in a list, just in a huge list.
That doesn't sound nice. And I have heard issues potentially with the HUD and menu system in general. Is that an example of that? As
a word, like the whole thing is overwhelming. I don't mind that because I can get on board over time with an overwhelmingly deep system, but at the same time, it does feel like, because they've just got folders next to stuff, it's like folders and subsystems, especially the crafting stuff, which we can get into.
Right.
But like, yeah, in terms of combat and your powers, it's just a huge list, and it's like, what do you want to put points into? And if you don't have that like inbuilt context of what these powers are in Mass Effect, they come with descriptions, but it's going to be very hard to sort of spec your rider in a particular way, not really knowing like the difference between like incinerate and whatever, some other like, immolate or obliterate or other eights.
Okay. Now, something I loved in the Mass Effect games, the original ones, was I always felt a duty as the captain of the ship to every time I'd come back to the ship, I'd go on every floor and I'd go and see everyone, I'd go and speak to everyone,
have the same conversation.
See if they've got something new to say or something. Do you feel, and that was something that I don't know if BioWare necessarily wanted to foster, but they did in just by writing good characters that you cared about. Do you feel any inclination whatsoever to walk around your ship and talk to people?
Yes, I mean, yes, I feel some inclination whatsoever, but it's nowhere near the same pull that the original crew had.
Let's go and see Jack underneath the stairs.
Yeah, see what you could do with her. I don't know. And then like, but in the original, you were so like, especially Mass Effect 2, when they flipped everything on its head. You want to talk to Garrus. Or in the original, you want to go talk to Ashley or whatever. In this one, like the characters are so, you need to seek them out and do their loyalty missions to actually get a real sense of who they are. Like I said, Cora is awesome. Like she has this really cool connection to the Asari, and like I got it from reading her blurb on the text box in the codex. I didn't get it from her. Like you do get it later, but in terms of like how well that character is established and why you should care, that comes from the codex, which is a little bit strange. So some of the best character moments are ones that come way later and aren't up front, which like. But then again, some of the characters are kind of exposition machines or like kind of personality machines where they're just sort of like, I'm laid back and I just, you know, that's what I do. And it's like, oh, well, I guess you're introducing yourself. So kinda, but it doesn't feel natural. There's a weird sort of, as if someone went back across the script and said, well, they're not going to know who that is. So let's just put a joke in there, do that so they know that it's lighthearted.
Right.
And a lot of the comedy, actually, man, we have to talk about the new dialogue system.
Okay.
Because they've completely taken out Paragon and Renegade.
Right.
Under their justification was, well, it's very binary, it's one or the other. You always knew one or the other. And so their assumption was if you took that out and you went with a four-way system, which is more based on emotion, it's more based on like casual, professional, whatever, it's like 4 different things.
Okay.
Then, okay, that's a good idea, but in the game, you only ever get 2 options for the like 99% of the time. Right. You're always casual Star-Lord kind of rider, and you can be like, hey man, I don't really care, like whatever, let's do that. Yeah. Or you can be like think through something like Shepard would, and be like, well, I don't think we should do that yet. And he just says it like, it's Shepard or Star-Lord.
Right.
And it's like, do you want to go on that's one of the things, right? It boils down to like when you first get given the Tempest, you're inside, which is the new ship, sorry, and you get inside there, and one of the characters is like, hey, you ready for this? We're gonna, are you ready for what you're about to do? You know, like repopulate the Earth and stuff?
Does he look down the lens and say, cool beans?
I wish he would say anything that was actually memorable. Right. No, the options that you get given are, I can't wait to have an adventure, or like, let's do this like seriously. And I'm like, right, the 2 versions are Star-Lord, bunch of like aliens on a intergalactic, let's have fun.
Okay, that sounds fun, but
it is fun, but in that like manufactured Marvel humor kind of way.
Right, where they're like high-fiving and
like
slapping.
And it's just like let's stop every sort of 20 minutes. Let's just have a joke. It's the way Marvel write their scripts now,
right?
Where it's like let's doctor the script and let's put a joke in, even if it doesn't belong.
So it feels tacky, but there's a good chance that some people out there will absolutely love it.
Yes, and that sort of like pivots back around to where I am right now, because I love Mass Effect enough that I can just go with it. I do think there are some glaring problems with the bugs and the glitches. I had a character just take off in the middle of a conversation, just gone. Like it was just like my planet needs me. Right. I'm away. And if you stand still, for some reason, your companions just keep walking around. What? So like you'll just be there having a conversation, and they'll just be on cupboards, they'll just be on tables, in beds,
climbing on
just looking down at you.
That's like Fallout levels of what
it is. It's like Assassin's Creed Unity of just like what the hell.
Nav mesh issues. Yeah, that's crazy.
There's some really weird oversights with this, with that kind of thing. Anyway, but the mythology carries it. If you already love the mythology, this is a horrendous place to start if you don't know anything about Mass Effect. One of the things that's worth outlining, especially at this stage, you can take this as much of a justification for why Andromeda is the way that it is as you want. The team that developed this are the sub-team of BioWare, the guys that did the multiplayer component of Mass Effect 3. They're not BioWare's lead people now.
What happened? What's going on?
Well, everyone left. Like Corey Hudson and I forget the other name of the dudes, but most of the main crew that make Mass Effect what it is aren't with BioWare anymore.
Right, I didn't know that.
They all left in the wake of Mass Effect 3, because like obviously the way that game went. If you know the behind-the-scenes rumblings of BioWare, that ending was changed last minute because EA didn't like the fact that their original ending had leaked. So that whole crazy Star Child crap, that was a last minute, well not last minute, but last few months, patched in thing.
They had to put in, yeah.
Point being, that original team clearly weren't happy with that, and they've left BioWare. So Andromeda is made by the sub-team, it's made by the multiplayer team, and this is their first big AAA release.
Bearing in mind it's their first big AAA release, it's not bad, right?
That's the thing, and it is a bad justification because a lot of people aren't going to even know that, and even if you do know that, it doesn't paper over the stuff where the game just goes crazy.
Of course.
But in saying that, there is a passion and an ambition underneath all of these systems that does sort of, you can see it like, oh, they do care about the race relations, they do care about the side quest structures, and they do care about the powers, and letting you explore all these like gorgeous worlds. And the worlds themselves do look absolutely stunning. Like the Frostbite engine looks gorgeous. It's just that the core of it is just so like underneath all these other layers that you've got to get past. And I didn't even feel it click at all for a good 4 hours. Because it's just like, there's a lot of good exposition. It's kind of a lot of like magical sort of like, hey, you're the first human in Andromeda. How's that going to go? But it wasn't until I really like touched down on a planet and I had a few reasons to explore that I kind of felt the loop kick in, where I was like, right, I'm going here, I'm shooting these dudes, I'm having a conversation, I'm solving this, I'm doing this.
Okay.
That was when I kind of went, okay, I get what this is. Like, it's a different take on Mass Effect. It's, you know what the planet, when you would go to the different planets in Mass Effect 1?
Yes.
And like some of us, like I like that. I just thought like everyone's like, oh, it's the same, it is the same thing over and over again. If you take the ethos behind that, like if you could even remotely get on board with what No Man's Sky was trying to do, it's that. And like it's that with all the mythology of Mass Effect, but like peppered in. Because the main story thrust doesn't take you through those things, you have to find them. You have to pick the specific side missions, you have to go on the loyalty missions. Otherwise the game just doesn't hand you its best stuff, you have to find it.
Okay, well bearing in mind that it's out now.
Yeah. Have you seen the reviews?
I have, yeah. Is it recommended to long-time fans or to people who are casual observers, or who would you say should, if anyone, play this game?
Right now, I would only give it to long-time fans. You have to have an investment in the mythology to even give a remote crap. To look past the stuff. I think it's very easy to laugh at it. I mean, when all that stuff broke the other day, all the facial animations, we did look at it and laugh. I mean, you can't not laugh at the ridiculousness of some of these animations, especially, like I said, with Addison. Right. Some of those things are objectively bad, and I think BioWare, they'll be aware of it, they have to be.
Yeah.
So those things are very surface level, and that surface level will bounce people off if they're coming in going like, I want a AAA experience. Considering 2017 has been so outstanding so far as well. Like this is going up against Horizon, Zelda, Nier, and Neo. Like to then put this next to it and go, okay, what's your first impression going to be? It's going to be negative.
Yeah.
Whereas the only people that are going to dig past that are people that know their Asari matriarchs from the Krogan genophages or whatever. Like you need to know that stuff to get past that surface level, because it is a thick surface level.
Right.
So I'm enjoying it. I kind of really want to love it.
Yeah.
But it's that same thing that I personally had with Fallout 4, where I'm just like, this is so buggy and broken, and I don't care enough to get past that. So
fair enough. Well, we'll be bringing you the full review.
Yes.
Soon.
Yes.
Next couple of weeks.
Yes, and I'm breaking down on the site. I'm going to break down things that the fans will love and things the fans will hate, because I really think this is a fan-focused game. As much as they've tried to blow it up with multiplayer aspects and stuff, this is something for the fans, for better or worse.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you very much for watching. I've been Ben from World Culture.
I'm Scott from World Culture.
And we'll see you soon.